Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Friday Food Fight. My name is Bart Christian, CEO of Food Handler Solutions and School Food Handler, and I'm joined once again by Bart Christian, nationally recognized speaker. And you'll notice that this episode is a little different than episodes that we've done in the past. We're actually using this episode and the interview with our very special guest today to tell you and your team about a really cool new adventure that we are setting out on, which is our brand new podcast. And you can actually access our podcast by simply scanning the QR code on this page during this video at any point in time, and that will actually take you to a page where you can subscribe to one of our podcast channels. Now, we offer our podcast on any podcasting platform that you prefer to listen to your podcast on. That includes Apple, Spotify, Audio Boom, and so many others. So I hope that you enjoy this episode, which is going to be an exclusive interview between Bart Christian and Mr. Doug Wordell. Now, Doug is the Director of Nutrition Services for Spokane Public Schools in Spokane, Washington. And Doug is known as the Iron Lunch Lady for his participation in the Hawaiian Ironman World Championship in 2001. And he is a passion-filled, energetic leader for child nutrition programs, professional health, and wellness. He is the Director of Nutrition Services for Spokane Public Schools and has been directing school nutrition programs for over 30 years in Oregon and Washington. Now, with over 50 schools and 29,000 students, the Spokane Public Schools Nutrition Services Team is known as a model program that serves over 4 million meals each year. Doug has been a leader nationally in developing effective, implementable allergy management systems for child nutrition programs. Doug is committed to offering the most nutritious food to his customers, utilizing scratch cooking methods, and for years has operated the Spokane Child Nutrition Program in a manner that provides the highest quality food for the district. He is enthusiastic and a natural motivator, and I think that you all are going to love what he has to share with you today. And he has produced many learning tools and videos that have inspired his staff to be the best they can be for their customers each and every day. He recently developed and implemented a culinary academy and the Spokane Child Nutrition Program where his staff learn the ins and outs of creating the very finest meals for each and every person they serve. Doug has had a major impact on child nutrition staff across the Northwest United States through his intern programs in partnership with both Washington State University and the University of Idaho. So I hope that you all thoroughly enjoy this week's episode, an exclusive interview, again, between Mr. Bart Christian and Doug Wordell.
All right, hey everybody, we're here with my great friend Doug Wordell, Director of School Nutrition in Spokane, Washington. And Doug, I really appreciate, a lot of people don't know about this interview. This is our second time around. Doug was gracious enough to come back. We had a huge technical glitch in the first interview that we did, and I found it kind of interesting, Doug, because one of the things we had talked about in that interview was how sometimes things don't go your way.
Yeah.
And you just sort of kind of got to go with the flow, and I know I got a real lesson in that just a couple of days ago.
You know what? You deep breathe to take the moment at a time. Life's messy, but if you just move through the mess, things work out.
Amen. So, Doug, how did you get your start in school nutrition? I mean, because you've been so dynamic in it across the years and throughout the state of Washington. How did you get into that, and kind of what keeps you hanging on?
Well, it really was an accident. I was at Washington State University. I was going to go into physical therapy and massage therapy, and WSU didn't have the program to get into physical therapy. And I saw this nutrition program. I thought, well, I'll get a nutrition degree, and then I'll move on into the sciences, and because I like the medical field and work with Olympic athletes. And I met this beautiful Scandinavian woman, and we got married before my last year in school, and we had a baby on the way, and my clinical internship was on the west side of the state at Madigan Hospital, and I had one interview, and that one interview was with the School Food Service Division with Marriott Corporation's contractor. We kind of clicked because I had talked about nutrition education and some marketing ideas I had, and they threw me an interview over at the Marriott Hotel at the seat by SeaTac and said, "Are you interested?" And I said, "I'll take it." Moving back in with my mom and dad didn't seem to be a great idea with a baby and a wife, and
Amen.
And so got that first position. Worked with Marriott as a contractor in the Salem-Keizer School District for a couple of years, and then got my first director's position in 1991 in Central Oregon in Bend. And I wouldn't have picked it, but this is such a great field. It's the work is so worthwhile, and the opportunities for a person who wants to have a family or a personal life that has some balance. I mean, there's hard work in it, but nobody's calling me Saturday night saying, "Hey, a dishwasher didn't show." I love the work. What keeps me in it, I love the work, and I also really enjoy the chance to kind of message what we get to do for kids to my team. I love working with the people that we have. The lunch staff, the lunch ladies, I affectionately call them that because lunch ladies are my heroes. They're the salt of the earth, and they would take a bullet for a kid, and I really love the people I get to work with. So the relationships I've had over the years with my team members, getting to know them, helping them be successful, seeing them grow. I've had team members grow. They're smarter than I am, and they grow and have success and step up into supervisory or director positions. It's just fun. So the relationships for me with the staff, and really, like I said, I stumbled into the industry, and that was 30 years ago.
Wow.
So it's been a beautiful ride.
Yeah, don't you find so many people get into this industry by accident? They just sort of get into it as a stopgap sometimes and just fall in love with the people and just don't get out.
Well, it wasn't in the career fair. I never look at it, unless it's not glamorous. We're looking at hotels,
right,
and resorts. You're looking for the glitz, and honestly, there's a process in politics in every place you would go and work, but the work we get to do and the balance that it has is so good. It's just it's a great hidden. It's a gem of food service, really, in my opinion.
A lot of people don't know about, a lot of our listeners don't know about you, Doug, is that you're quite the motivational speaker and you're quite the motivational individual. I've always been inspired every single time I have a conversation with you and talk to you. And if you could post a sign in every school kitchen across the country, in a few words, what would it say and why would it say that?
This is a hard one. I thought about that. You kind of gave me the questions ahead of time, and this is a hard one. I think as a dietitian and as an athlete, the first one that came to mind was eat well, live well, be kind. Our kids need to know how to live well for a lifetime and take care of this gift of a body and their mind that they've given. They need to know how to be kind and need to know that they're loved. The other one that came to my mind is something like, you are a miracle and you can do great things. Our kids, especially these younger kids, I don't know if they have the same confidence and the same support. They get exposed to so much with social media. I don't know that they know how amazing they are and how much potential they have, and that they can do great things. So one of those, whether it's that the second one, but I do like that: eat well, live well, be kind, and love.
Can't go wrong with any one of those five.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know you've committed yourself to a lifetime of learning, and I think to get to the point you're at and to be the type of individual you are, that's pretty evident. So obviously you read, so what are some books or maybe a book that's had significant impact on your life, and can you share a little bit what some of it was?
Absolutely. First, I'm a work in progress. Further on, I got to go, wow, there's so much I don't know. But the first book is the Bible. I read it a bit. I try to read it every day. It's a good way for me to start the day. Great Proverbs, great just lessons in life. And I won't get preachy on anybody, but I think what's Philippians 4:2-3, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourself. I just love the idea of servant leadership and caring for others. And so that's been a cornerstone for what I do, and I want to keep practicing on that. I realize I have to work on that. There's another book as a dad of 4 kids. They're now 29, 27, 25, 23, and I got a grandbaby. My wife is so happy. We were just having so much fun with that, with Avery, our grandson. But the book we read as parents was called The Key to Your Child's Heart by Gary Smalley. And I really liked, it talked about investing time, setting principles and values, kind of a simple contract on how you're going to behave, and it's for everybody, and developing that together and building relationships with our kids was such a big deal. Even remember just the conversations we had about the rules and the processes after reading the book, and Lori and I trying to implement that. But professionally, I think the book that's been most impactful for me is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's a great book.
A great one.
You begin with the end in mind. Put first things first. There's these private habits, and then public habits that you can have. Think win-win. There's synergy that you work with, and I find myself continuing to come back to those principles, and they go, you know what, that's how it needs to be. That's what our teams need. That's what our people need, and so that's just been a really impactful book for me.
Well, this next question has a special meaning, I think, for us, given that we're on our second round with this interview. But how has a failure or an apparent failure set you up for later success? And is there a favorite failure? I mean, we all can look back on life and see times when we fell down. But is there one that kind of stands out that you thought you fell down and actually you fell forward?
Well, I want to tell a little different story because I just came up with a new one as you asked the question. I remember brand new supervisor, my first position. My boss came up and he lectured me about not reporting and not telling him where I was, and even lectured me on some of my work I was in. It just scared the snot out of me. And candidly, I was innocent. I mean, I think I'd gone home to help my wife with the baby. I'd come back and run an errand, and I'd done some extra work in the interim, but there was some miscommunication. To be able to take that and not wet myself too much, and then just engage it and work through it was good. It ended up great relationship with my boss, great learning, and so to not run from those circumstances and embrace and then work through them. And I shared in our last conversation about the struggles here. 20 years in, this is my 21st year with the Spokane Public Schools, and we've had some challenges with allergies and some systems issues, and it was really difficult for me, and I took the responsibility of it, and it brought me down a bit, and now I'm coming back up going, you know what, we have great people. And everything is true as it was 20 years ago when I started it is today. And it's given me kind of a new energy to say, wake up, Doug. Get your butt in gear. You don't deserve this job. You actually need to work. And so I've got a new sense of commitment to my team, and that's really good when you have something to focus on. So I think those challenges have helped me kind of refocus and just step forward.
We're kind of stepping back a little bit to that question we asked previously, and talking about books and reading. That kind of leads into investments in yourself, because always those are the kind of things you're investing in your personal self. Are there any worthwhile investments that you can think of? And it could be money, time, energy, whatever that really have made an impact in your life.
Yeah.
Recently, I guess maybe a better question.
Well, I'm gonna dovetail this into kind of a failure, and then where I think the best investment is. When I first started my first director's position, I worked too much, and I almost lost my marriage over it, which was not worth it. I was just doing what I thought I had to do and didn't have boundaries. And thinking of In Search for Excellence, I don't remember the author's name, but I believe he had a quote something like, to be a world-class CEO and to be able to lead a large organization, you can't be a world-class CEO and a great dad, or a world-class CEO and a great something else, because the cost of excellence is too high. And I found myself trading my work for my most important relationships, which in my book is not okay. And I had an experience in my first director's position in Bend, Oregon, that was called Special Friends, where they had some research, and the research showed that if a kindergarten or first grade young student who was identified as struggling and not connecting had 30 minutes a week of non-directive play with adults, just somebody to connect with them and care for them for 16 weeks, that dramatically improved their success in school. And I did that for a couple of kids, and then I went, dang, if I can do this why wouldn't I do that for my own kids? So Monday night was DJ, Tuesday night was Spencer, Wednesday night was Andrew, and Thursday night was Chelsea. And I just would go to the room, and it's your time, what do you want to do? And one kid was playing a board game, and another kid would go pajama shopping and go get a candy bar. I'm a dietitian, but I can do a candy bar, and we do something fun together. And the most meaningful conversations happened over doing nothing, but just being there. And it was just their time. And I didn't always get it, but that was, I think, most impactful for my relationship with my kids and for them. And now as a grandpa, I'm trying to rekindle it because I haven't been doing that intentionally. And so it's going to fire me back up to intentionally reach out and connect with my kids. But that investment, I think, has been huge.
Yeah, I think you said to me in the last thing, but I can't remember, but fast is slow and slow is fast. And
that's a Stephen Covey quote. That's exactly right. With people, fast is slow and slow is fast. Yeah.
Exactly. So, well, what do you have we've all got quirks, we've all got things that we do that sometimes other people might think is a little unusual, but do you got an unusual habit or a silly thing that you just love?
Well, I'm kind of dorky, and one of them I try to move a bit, and I encourage people to move, and so I've challenged some of our staff. If they go to copier and do a copier, you do copier squats. So if you do 10 copies, you do 10 squats. Get down deep, do it nice, get your legs apart, balance, and do that squat perfect for the hits and the medius, gluteus maximus and medius, and so. I've been caught doing, so I do that when I go to the copier. And boy, if you do 400 copies, I challenge you to do your 400 squats. You will burn your thighs out, and it's no weight, just doing them. So that's kind of fun, and I think that's healthy. And I've even challenged the talks to do that and have staff come back. I was in a dishwasher, and you mentioned that, so I put a rack through, and while I was waiting for the other rack, I just did 5 squats. She says, my legs are so strong. As fun as I like loving my wife in front of my kids. My job as a dad was to gross them out a little bit and show them I love them, and I like that appropriate affection, and so I continue to do that, and the kids continue to roll their eyes, and it's a beautiful thing.
Exactly. I've heard it said that the greatest gift you can give your children is to love your spouse.
Yeah.
In front of them, I think so.
Yeah, so that they know what real love looks like, not on the movie screen. Yeah, but real. Yeah.
So in the last 5 years, and as we've got things differently, and our thinking changes, and what new belief or behavior, or maybe habit has improved your life? Can you point something?
Boy, I'm coming back to the basics. The pace of life just continues to crescendo, and we have to just refuse to get on that merry-go-round that flings us too fast. I am starting to go back to my paper planner, and I'm trying to purpose every day to do planning, which I struggle with. I'm not great at planning. I'm great at doing, and then reading my goals on a weekly basis, and fencing off my quiet time. So that it's just so important. Important to, again, 7 habits. Put first things first, I think the other thing that has been good for me is I'm embracing broken, and I'm okay with being broken. And so I have accountability partners. I have people I talk with, like you or others in the profession. I'll call and say, "Am I on base here?" And I talk with someone to tell me what I hear, not what I want to hear, but somebody who knows me well enough says, "Doug, you're blowing smoke." That's a gift, and you need to say thank you, even when it hurts. And that's hard. That can be hard when somebody tells you a little bit of truth. But boy, do you get somebody who's willing to tell you some truth and you can hear it? That's a good thing.
Well, that's where you grow. Embracing the criticism, embracing sometimes people can be harsh, but looking at it as, what can I learn from this, and then where's the gift? I think that's an incredible thing, Doug. So you've worked with a lot of. I noticed on your resume you've got Washington State and University of Idaho. So you've worked with a lot of college kids. What advice do you give a smart driven college student that's thinking about getting into the child nutrition industry as a career?
Oh, well, I sell it. It's a great career. I mean, I think there's lots of challenge, certainly technical challenge, organizational challenge, political challenge, because you got to manage maybe unions or school boards. But I would, one, get in and get child nutrition certified. Know the technical side of your business, because that's important, right? And know that well. So whatever they can, and network. Belong to the association, the School Nutrition Association, and the local organizations are so good because they'll get you that accountability. Then really build relationships. I don't think you'll survive or have the potential impact you could if you don't build the relationships with your team members, to be able to trust them, to be able to really connect with them. Being a lunch lady or a lunch guy, you're a rock star, and you do great things. And if you build those relationships, you can help those team members believe in themselves and have a greater impact on the students. And let me tell you, sometimes the kids, the only people they connect with as deeply is the lunch lady and the custodian, because they feel like they're understood and they're accepted as they are. So, building those relationships with staff.
Well, is there anything you hear going around the industry or advice you hear that they're particularly being given to young folks coming into the industry, or just advice in general about a business or about life that you think they should just ignore, or maybe bad things you hear people being told?
I have a little struggle. We are in such an accountable culture and society that's like, write it all down, document it all down, go, go, go. It's this top-down, autocratic, follow the rules. Boy, if somebody's telling you, just bring the hammer, baby, I think you're getting some poor advice. There is accountability. You need to have hard conversations, don't get me wrong, but the real leadership is to be able to go back and build those relationships and have the honest conversations. People will be more motivated when they know you care and you understand and you're out there asking, how can I help, than if you're coming at them with a whip and telling them, I'm going to get you because of the rules. And it seems, and every organization is a little different, but if you're hearing someone say, well, just show them you're the boss, well, I think they're telling you the wrong stuff.
Exactly. I heard somebody say the quality of your relationships with work, home, whatever, is directly tied to the number of difficult conversations you're willing to have.
Yeah. And I would share something else too. I share this with our interns. Sometimes new leaders think that, well, I'm a leader, I have to know it all, and I can't make mistakes.
Oh yeah.
That's a lie. I would share and I would challenge them, the young students. Some of my best lessons or most impactful things have been when I share where I messed up as a director, and I eat crow and I tell people about it. Because when people see honest transparency and go, wow, he's real, there's a lot more compassion out there than you realize, and they learn and respect you when you're appropriately transparent, and you don't fix it. You're not in the right direction, but boy, I tell you, I think being honest and transparent and a little vulnerable as a leader gives you more credibility and influence if you're willing to do it.
Oh, no doubt. Well, it builds trust, and that's the hardest thing to build and the easiest thing to lose, but it's one of the most valuable things you can have. And yeah. So in the last 5 years, now you got a grandchild. Now you obviously got grown children. You've got a wife. You've been pulled in a dozen different directions, probably simultaneously every single day. What have you become better at saying no to? And what particular approaches do you use when you have to tell somebody that no, I'm just not going to be able to help?
Covey talks about another, speakers will talk about putting the big rocks in first. If I say God, family, relationships, help my neighbors, if those, whatever those top priorities are, if you show me your checkbook and your calendar, I'll tell you what's important. And for me, sitting down and planning the big rocks, I'm putting some time away to go for a hike with my sons. I'm putting some time away. I'm blocking out the time for big planning on my calendar at work, for project work, things that are going to help transform our organization. And I fence those things off and put the block. So when somebody calls me, I say, I'm so sorry, I'm already committed then. And so pre-planning my most important relationship things and my most important leadership things on my calendar help me to say no. The other thing, knowing who you are and what your values are and what that core work is, the more you know that, then when somebody comes and says, hey, I'd love for you to be, Doug, jump into the political group here and come do this, and that's a great work. I'm sorry, that's not my work. I love you, but no. And I've said no a few times, even though I would, part of it kind of gets exciting, but you spread yourself too thin, you'll have no flavor and influence if you don't have some focus in your areas of strength and in the areas that you think are the big work for you.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, the first thing that suffers is your family.
Yeah.
All right. So that being said, obviously you're very, very, like I said, busy at what you do, and we all are. And sometimes we all get this feeling of overwhelm or lack of focus, and it just seems like the fog sort of sets in. Mm-hmm. What do you do to get you out of that? I mean, what are some techniques that you use to kind of clear the fog or help you regain focus?
Well, I would just share with anybody who's listening. Poop happens, and the fog happens, and you kind of lose focus, or you figure, I don't know. Sounds like I've told this to my team members. One day, the superintendent's going to come in and say, "Hey, Doug, we finally figured it out. You don't know what you're doing." I was like, "Oh, shoot!" Because I'm just acting it out sometimes and figuring it out as I go. So the fog happens. I've been there a number of times in my career, more so lately, if I'm honest. And for me, go back and read my life values and goals. I wrote them down. If you haven't written a mission statement, go and write a mission statement. Write down what you think is the most important things for your life, professionally and personally. Something that if you come back to 20 years, you think, yeah, it's still going to be the same. And I go back and I read those. The other thing I do is I call a friend who I know is my cheerleader. And again, one of those friends will tell me the truth, but I go and I go talk to my mentor friend and I say, hey, I spill some guts. And that's not always my spouse. I'm very transparent with my spouse, but having a male that a guy that I can go to and have that conversation, connect and be reaffirmed, and encouraged, that is big for me. And then, when stuff goes crazy, one, pick the one most important thing and do one thing on that and control your controllables. You can't control everything. And if you focus on the fog, if you focus on the unknown, you're just going to keep slipping on the banana peel. You gotta come back, focus on, again, what's that big, maybe one big priority and what's one actionable I can do, and just do the one thing. Control what I can control. Let the rest of it take care of itself. It'll work out. And life's messy. The stuff's not gonna be linear, but that's okay. The tortoise wins the race. If they're willing to go slow and steady, the tortoise will win the race, and they can embrace it. Go back to your fundamental values. Go back, get somebody to encourage you, and then do just one step on a thing that'll get you going in the right direction.
It goes right back to what you said earlier. Sometimes fast is slow and slow is fast.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. So, well, Doug, listen, I really can't tell you how much I appreciate you sitting down with us again and giving us another chance at this. And I am so excited to get a chance to talk to you. And I wish you nothing but the very best. And, hey, God bless you in every great way and your family. And thank you so very much.
You're welcome, Bart. Thank you. I appreciate the conversation, appreciate what you're doing. I hope this blesses some people and they hear a couple of good things and get out there and love school lunch.
Ditto. Well, thank you again.
Take care.